Part 2, Military Influence and Public Safety in the U.S. Welcome back to Part 2 of our podcast. In this segment, we'll dive deeper into the implications of military power on public safety, the concerns about political instability, and the long-term consequences of a system dominated by military leadership. Concerns over public safety. As military influence grows within the U.S. government, there is a mounting fear among certain segments of the population about their safety and security. It's not just the possibility of military intervention in foreign conflicts that's worrisome, it's the potential for military intervention on home soil. The concept of militarized policing has become a reality in many parts of the U.S. over the past few decades. The use of military-grade equipment by local police forces has risen dramatically, leading some to fear a creeping authoritarianism within their own cities. The line between military and civilian authorities is becoming increasingly blurred, with the Trump administration's focus on increasing military budgets and bolstering national security. Questions have arisen about whether the government's focus has shifted away from addressing internal issues like income inequality, healthcare access, and racial justice. Instead, resources are being directed toward defense spending and military power, which could result in fewer protections for the American people, especially those in marginalized communities. The threat of political instability. The political instability we are witnessing today is largely a result of an increasingly divided nation. As political parties become more polarized and divisions between different factions grow, the question remains, can the U.S. maintain its democracy in the face of such deep divides? The rise of populism, the erosion of trust in traditional political institutions, and the increase in military influence have left many questioning the future of American governance. One of the core challenges of democracy is maintaining a peaceful transfer of power, but as the nation becomes more politically fragmented, that principle is at risk. There's a growing sense that the traditional political process may not be enough to keep the peace if the military continues to assert its role as the ultimate authority in national decision-making. Global implications and the future of U.S. leadership. The U.S. is not operating in a vacuum. The military's increasing role within the U.S. has profound implications not only for Americans but for the rest of the world. As the U.S. becomes more internally focused, many countries are watching to see how this will affect their own relationships with the U.S. and the global balance of power. Will the U.S. continue to be a democratic beacon to the rest of the world, or will its internal instability undermine its influence abroad? Will military power shift global dynamics, and will smaller nations begin to view the U.S. as more of a threat than a stabilizing force? Conclusion. In summary, both bioweapons and the militarization of U.S. politics present significant risks to global security and democracy. Whether we're talking about the threats of gene editing technology or the rise of military-backed political power, it's clear that the future holds serious challenges for both the U.S. and the world. As we continue to monitor these developments, we must ask ourselves, how will these forces shape the world we live in, and how can we protect the values we hold dear: freedom, democracy, and peace? Thank you for tuning in today. This is Mr. Stosh, signing off. Until next time.